Hello and welcome to the off-topic but always on point podcast. I'm Sam,
I'm Matt.
and as usual, we are going to be discussing the biggest news stories of which have broken recently. Hashtag breaking news. Top story: CNN. Hashtag fake news. They've done it again. False reports, which was blowing up everywhere the past couple of days, that apparently documents have been leaked to them and confirmed by two sources that apparently Donald Trump Jr. and the Trump campaign as a whole received leaked emails before they were publicly released, along with an encryption key. So CNN was, I'm not going to say proclaiming, but alluding it to be the loaded gun, even though obviously the whole Russia investigation is kind of falling flat and there's not evidence, but obviously they thought this would reignite the campaign, but it turned out that news was fake, because for some reason they were led to believe that the emails were received on the 4th of September, but really they weren't received till the 14th, in which I don't think there's really, I mean, it'd be pretty hard to kind of get proof that the emails were actually opened and utilised or whatever, even though they were kind of given an encryption key. I guess it would be harder to actually like nail one singular person as to who actually accessed it. So yeah, the news story was fake. It was blown up all over Facebook for the whole of yesterday, and I was like, oh, this might be a big thing, you know. But yeah, it was actually sent 10 days later, in which all the documents that had been in, all the emails and documents had already been released publicly. So it was a big old CNN fake news debacle. Obviously, President Trump last night gave a speech in Pensacola in which he referenced it many times, and you know, I ain't gonna point fingers or anything like that, but it's got to be a Trump win. I mean, you had the Brian Ross debacle recently, him getting suspended for 4 weeks for fake news, and now CNN have literally dropped themselves in it. So yeah, I thought that was a pretty interesting story, because even I for a moment was worried that this might actually amalgamate into something, but no. It's interesting as well, because something that Trump brought up in his speech last night was that apparently the stock market dropped about 200 points as a result of it, so in which he advised people to, and I quote, lawyer up. Do you think if a news story of which is fake is released and it causes something like that, like say the stock market to drop a huge amount, and it turns out to be fake news, if people lose money, do you think the news services should be sued?
I don't know. No, because it was said. That's interesting. If it's an accident, like CNN say what you want, I don't think they would have intentionally set themselves up for this. They would have genuinely believed that someone made a mistake, and there it was.
Well, it
you can
wasn't
mock them for it if you want.
It was two people confirmed it. Two independent people confirmed the story.
Right. Well, you can't hold CNN accountable for that. And if they've got sources and they've confirmed it, and then they've run it and it's not true, they apologise and you move on. It sets a dangerous precedent if you start holding them accountable for that kind of thing. In the end, it'll come back to bite you. So, no. If they ran the story without sources, then yes, they should be liable for it. But in this case, no. Okay. If that's the case.
Okay, so yeah, that was a big story for the past couple days. I mean, I'll stick with Trump for 1 second before moving on to something else, but he made an appearance at the Mississippi Civil Rights Museum. So, I mean, he was kind of standing up for the, I guess, predominant black community by going there. The NAACP, of whom he rejected because normally the president goes to a NAACP thing and issues a statement on so yeah, a lot of kind of people, because of his kind of, I guess, the White House record's been thrown up a lot, obviously, with the travel ban and building the wall and stuff like that. So apparently if you want to protect your borders, then you can't go to any, well, you can go to an NAACP event and talk about the importance of people, historical figures who pushed forth the Civil Rights Museum, the Civil Rights Movement even. Apparently you can't go to that event and praise those members of the community because you want to keep your borders safe. So yeah, a lot of...
I don't know, but there's no doubt he has a bad track record with minorities, and there's no doubt a lot of his support came from white supremacists. No, obviously not all of them, but that was a large and vocal contingent. So
well, he won
the
he won the college-educated whites thing, and he got a section, and he got 33% of the Latino vote, which was higher than Mitt Romney, of which made no comments.
Sure, and no one's saying every supporter of Trump is a racist, but there is that element, and you can't expect it not, especially in this day and age, Twitter and everything else. I think he's going to go to an event like that, and he's not going to get that kind of talk.
Well, a lot of the kind of talk on Twitter is that if he didn't go to the event, it would have been lauded over it that he ignored it, and obviously because it's such a big thing, the Civil Rights Museum, and obviously he did go, and he gets mugged off for going as well. So really he couldn't have won either way.
And that's to be expected.
Yeah. Also a kind of interesting story that I thought I'd pull up while we're still on the subject that I thought was kind of funny. I was kind of actually disappointed in, really, but Bella Hadid, the Victoria's Secret angel and supermodel, she was coming out as sister of Gigi Hadid, if that helps anyone.
I don't know either of these people, but go on.
Yeah, well, they're young, they're in their 20s, very attractive, cool. Victoria's Secret, so that tells you all you need to know. Yeah, a smart girl, I guess, but she was kicking up a fuss, being that her father was of Palestine descent. She was kicking up a fuss about the Jerusalem thing debacle, and she attended a anti-Trump Israel demonstration for 3 minutes before being whisked away in a chauffeur-driven car. So yeah, she cared so...
nice for her to make an appearance.
3 minutes.
That's how I roll at parties as well. Alright guys, you say your hellos and then make a dart.
Yeah, but I read that she turned up to it, and I was expecting she was standing out there in the cold. She was like making statements. She was like, you know, borrowing people's flags and placards and swinging them about. But nah, literally, she turned up, I guess, had a bit of a walk around and got in a really nicely chauffeur-driven car and went off to eat good. While everyone else was standing in the freezing cold. Damn it. It's annoying because she's obviously I mean, if she felt enough to be a spokeswoman on this Jerusalem thing and come out and post on social media how it saddened her, I would have expected that she kind of, you know, stayed there for a couple of hours and kicked up a fuss. But I guess
what though? Like, what's that going to do?
Yeah, but what's the point in her posting up on social media, and then you know you're going to get nailed if you just go.
See, that's going to get way more attention though. That's what confuses me.
Yeah, I'm not the same attention in a national news story where she turned up at an event for 3 minutes and then dipped off.
Yeah, but see, I don't think she should have gone at all. Like I'm not being flippant. I really don't know who she is, but I assume she is someone famous enough to have quite a few Twitter followers or whatever social media she uses. So that's going to have way more of an impact if she posts something there than showing up on the street.
She's very attractive.
In this day and age, like, you know, doing that kind of thing might have worked 30 years ago, but now Twitter's far more powerful.
Well, we all know that. Yeah,
Hmm.
so I mean, if we move from the Trump update, I mean, he gave a very positive speech.
Oh my God! Stop talking about Trump.
Okay, he gave a very positive speech. I watched the whole
Well,
I watched the whole thing. So yeah, if we
sure
move
you did.
if we move on from that because too much winning, we'll move on to Brexit. So
Ugh,
a deal has been you know
agreed. Yeah.
handshooked. Would I say agreed? Who knows? Would you like to know some of the We're going to give you a rundown because, unlike everyone
Yeah.
else, you can trust our news. So, Brexit. The although
Brexit.
Michael Gove came out, you know, he just looks like. Have you seen him?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
He,
there we.
he always looks baffled.
He looks like he's got a face of a 2-year-old,
Hmm.
but like an old man, and it makes me nervous. So he's piped up and going, "Oh, the British people can change the deal if they dislike the agreement," and it's just like, come on, man. I'm pretty sure he wanted us to leave as well, but it's like, why are you complicating it? This don't sound that much of a bad deal. I mean, and it sounds like something that could have just been agreed in like 2 seconds. Or maybe I'm being ignorant or whatever, but
I think you are.
I hate it when people come up and there's like, oh yeah, you can change it. Oh yeah, we'll just wait another 10 years while we get some minor stipulations put in. So yeah.
It is complicated. It's amazingly complicated because it's also to do with law because we run by EU law as well. We've got to get rid of that.
What's your opinion on that? What do you feel about other people in another country telling us what we can and can't do? I don't agree. I think that's real stupid. You know what I
I
mean?
do as well, but at the same time, if you're gonna, yeah, we're leaving, but at the time we were a part of a group with these people. We were a coalition. There's no point in being a coalition and then having different laws. We can't. That's how you get into a dangerous position of being. Obviously, no one in Europe has this, but let's say it was like in the Middle East when they're chopping people's in some countries, they're chopping people's hand off for being a thief and whatnot. You need a set of rules that you're going to govern everyone by. So. In principle, I agree with it. I do think it can be slightly problematic, and I get why a lot of people didn't like it, though. And I think that was a big sticking point for a lot of people.
Yeah, so, I mean, we all know that if you could have been bothered to go to the polls, you would have voted to remain, but you had better
Possibly.
things to do. Like, I think you were counting sheep that day, weren't you?
Sure was.
Yeah, so after a 2-year transition period, the UK will be able to pass its own laws with full freedom to diverge from EU law on the single market and custom union. So yeah, that's one of the big points, even though we pretty much knew that anyway. I think that was just more of a statement. Just a little fun fact, the next general election will be in 2022, which is 3 years after we leave. So yeah, whatever. So yeah,
We'll see, unless someone else calls for a bloody damn election.
the major kind of deals being made, I'll give a quick run through. So 3 million EU citizens currently in the UK will be allowed to continue living and working here.
Oh, we knew that would happen as well.
Those already in the country without permanent residency will be able to require it after Brexit. So now, forget about it. Later, we'll see what we can do. On the flip side, 1 million or so, stark difference. Also, UK citizens living in an EU country after Brexit get the same rights under the agreement, and there are reunification rights for relatives who do not live in the UK. But do not live in the UK but can join them in their host country in the future. So that was a bit of swap there, even though it was like, yeah, 3 million of your lot can stay if 1 million of our lot can stay. But
So what does that mean though? Because okay, let's just say, well, I got a grandmother living in Spain. Does that mean theoretically I can just hop on a boat or a plane and go to Spain and that's fine?
I guess so.
Okay.
My thought is, does that mean if you've got a Romanian parent living in the UK, does that mean you can hop on a boat and come over here?
A Romanian parent. What if you were in Romania?
Yeah, you're a little Romanian
Yeah, I suppose
boy,
so.
and the mama's in
Yeah,
the UK.
absolutely.
Okay. What if you're a big Romanian boy?
Then I would question it.
Okay.
Different case. But if they're a minor, yeah.
Okay. It's kind of raised the question, why did mama leave you alone? But the divorce bill will amount to in between 35 billion sterling and 39 billion sterling. This includes budget contributions during a 2-year transition period, after which we leave in March 2019. So there's a lot of transition periods, if you know what I
Yeah,
mean.
it will be. This is going to drag on for years.
So we're officially leaving March 2019, but there's a 2-year transition period after that, where I guess whatever. And
39 billion sterling.
well, yeah,
That's about the price. That's about the price Disney might have paid for Fox.
well, bear in mind it is pounds, so
Exactly. So
it'll be
if
different
it's meant to be around 60, right? So that'll be roughly that.
Okay, calm down. Well, they were asking for 100 at one point. It was bobbing around 100 billion, then 80 billion, then the last I heard.
So to be clear,
it was 50.
this is us paying them.
Yeah.
Bloody hell.
Yeah, but we'll think of all the money we pay in that we'll save. We'll make that back
We'll see.
very, very quickly. Trust me. Yeah, the precise figure is unknown at the moment, so it could, oscillate depending on whatever. The kind of, I guess, the DUP were a big part of this. Obviously, Theresa May had to suck their kneecaps to get them to agree to it, or we'd be back to square one. So a lot of that revolved around the Irish border. So they've agreed to not a hard border between Northern Ireland and Ireland, so the free flow of goods between the two without border checks is something that's confirmed, and the DUP doesn't want Northern Ireland to be treated different after Brexit, because there's a lot of and an in between that. The UK-EU document says any future deal must not prevent Northern Ireland and Ireland cooperation and hold to the UK's guarantee of avoiding a hard border. So I guess even if the UK is thrown something, then they have to do everything they can to make sure it doesn't affect trade between the UK, between Northern Ireland and Ireland. So no new regulatory barriers will be allowed between Northern Ireland and the rest of the UK, and Northern Ireland businesses will continue to have unfettered access to the UK internal market, which is thought to be added by the DUP as a kind of, a deal breaker. So that was very important to them. Your thoughts? I mean, we've finally done it. We're getting there. Lest anything else happen.
Yeah, but we're not. Yes, we've had the breakthrough, but this is still going to drag on for years. My thoughts are this is going to be the news cycle in the UK for the next 2 years at least.
Well, I think it's going to have a bigger effect on the EU, because I think they're hoping we leave the EU and it all goes to pot and things go really bad for us economically. If it doesn't, then the EU's in trouble, because all the people who have considered leaving and were kind of corn-swaddled and kind of, had pressure put on them to kind of stay
Yeah,
in the
because
EU, they're going to be like, oh well, the UK left and they're on a G flex. We don't need to
right,
be
I
in
think
it.
a lot of
Bye.
the ill will was also brought up around the whole Greece thing, right? Where Greece collapsed and we all had to, because of the EU thing, we all had to fund basically Greece to stop. I don't know what would have gone on, but I think the whole country would have gone into financial meltdown. So, yeah, there's talk of some of the countries being unhappy at the EU as well. I don't know whether that's all going to fall apart. I think the difficulty of this whole Brexit deal may have thrown a lot of them off from wanting to leave anyway. But we'll see.
Yeah, so I mean, because at the moment there's big plans for a United States of Europe, a European army. So they're definitely planning expansion.
And we've been
above and
hearing about that
beyond.
for years, though. I'm not sure that would ever work. This isn't America. We're all separate countries. How can you throw them all together?
Well,
I don't know.
Well, it is. The laws are all the same, as you said. So all you need to do is name it. You know what I mean? All you need to do is name it and unite
Yeah,
the
but
militaries.
they're not one country, though. It's a whole different history,
Oh, that's their plan.
different cultures, different. Yeah, well, we'll see. That's whose plan, though. Like, who's agreeing to that?
Well, we'll have to wait and see.
Yeah, we will.
Yeah. So this could go one or two ways. If we succeed, which I believe we will, it could blow up in the European Union's face, which is very interesting because Canada wanted nothing to do with them.
Well, why would they?
The US
They're in another.
the US want nothing to do with them. So yeah, bad deals. So yeah, is there anything you want to bring up quickly?
What about Brexit?
Yeah. Or
No.
anything else, if there's anything to kind of slide in there.
No, nothing about Brexit. Let's move on.
Okay, you want to move on to the celebrity harassment scandal.
I'm sure. Where do we want to start here?
You tell me. I wanted to, I mean, if we stick to the fake news, the National Enquirer is being sued by Mr. Charlie Sheen, that and its parent company, American Media Incorporated, because of the accusations it threw out. Apparently the editor, Dylan Howard's biased towards Charlie Sheen and has bad feeling towards him because he wanted to break the HIV story first. And Charlie Sheen
Allegedly.
said, yeah.
Yeah. This is all to do with Corey Haim, right?
Yeah, so the accusations put towards Mr. Sheen, alleged sexual misconduct in the 1986 film Lucas, in which they co-starred. Your thoughts?
Right, because the two Coreys have long... Well, I say the two Coreys. Certainly Corey Feldman has maintained they were abused in the 80s, but I think even Corey Haim's mum came out and said this claim of Sheen wasn't true.
On Dr.
Whether
Ross, she came
whether
out
it
and
is
said,
or yeah, right. She said it was made up, but whether it is or isn't true, at this point, is irrelevant. This is stupid. Why would they do this? It's not. This is different from the case of people accusing whoever it might be. Corey Haim's dead. Has been for quite a while now. So you're going on. You've got no proof, and you're going out and putting these statements out there. Charlie Sheen should sue him.
You think he's going to get fat cash?
Well, I don't know how much money these guys have, but I think you brought up a point off air. The same with the Hulk Hogan thing. Hulk Hogan's not going to get that 100 million whatever he wants because they're going out of business. But I think the point he's trying to save face in public, which if it isn't true, then he should.
Yeah, because her mum came out on Dr. Oz and said that it wasn't him. I think she mentioned the person, but it was bleeped out, I guess, for legal reasons. Your best buddy, Armie Hammer, says he misspoke and apologised to Casey Affleck after claiming the actor had 3 cases of sexual assault against him. He said he misspoke and he got it confused between accusations and civil suits that have already been settled.
Yeah, and I think he was talking about a difference between sexual assault and misconduct is what I think the Casey Affleck thing was about. I assume. Yeah, I don't know. We were talking before. It seemed like
He really wants
he's
that
more
Batman
he's
role.
more than yeah, exactly. He's more than entitled to his opinion, but for someone who's been piped up about Warner Brothers' role in some sort of DC film, it seems an odd thing to attack Batman's brother. So I would think maybe that's why he's backtracking.
Okay. So, have you got any stories?
Well, our old friend Kevin Spacey's in the news again. I mean, good God. I don't know when these stories are going to stop coming, but the latest one, according to the BBC, is that he groped a Norwegian king's son-in-law. I think they're divorced now, but I guess they were married at the time.
Hashtag high profile.
Yeah, we got some quotes for him, which are actually pretty funny. Not funny what happened, just his quotes. The gropee, I guess we call him.
The victim.
He says, yes, I'm a generous person, but this was a bit more than I had in mind. And here we go. Recalling the alleged incident, he said, we had a great talk. He sat right beside me. After 5 minutes, he said, let's go out and have a cigarette. And then apparently that's when he put his hand under the table and groped him. And then the guy says, maybe later. And talking about, as in awkward, don't do that again, I guess. And he was saying, my hair was dark at the time, I was 10 years younger and right up his alley. So, blimey. Good Lord.
That's very descriptive.
It is. It's just like, when are these stories going to stop? It's like, how did none of this ever come out? How's it taken 20 odd years?
Well, Kevin Spacey was like, I guess, on top of the world. I know that he got an honorary knighthood and stuff like that. It's like Kevin Spacey literally a year ago was like the biggest guy ever. Like
This dude was married into royalty. You can't have been scared of him. Maybe it's just like you don't really want to admit a bloke did that to you. Maybe it's a macho thing, I guess. Also, it's a case of. Also, I suppose it'd be a case of like it's his word against his until now. So many other people have said it. They're automatically going to believe him, whether it's true or not.
Depends how much this Norwegian son-in-law got in the divorce settlement.
Well, Dustin Hoffman's been accused of something again.
Yeah. So I mean, he had a run-in with John Oliver.
Yeah.
At a discussion on the film Wag the Dog, and he was kind of grilled by John Oliver where it was kind of awkward and stuff like that. So yeah, to add, I think the term is salt upon wounds. Tell them.
Well, apparently this is something to do with a show on Broadway in the mid-80s. An actress is claiming that he pulled her top up and made a string of comments and blah blah blah. Again, the problem here, and there are, I think they're saying the BBC have gone to people for quotes and comments, and some people say it didn't happen. So there's only really been 2 cases against Hoffman. It's not the same as Spacey, but it does seem a lot of people are coming after him. Whether this is going to be true again or not, I don't know.
I think that whole incident earlier in the week has kind of inspired something within people where, Yeah,
again, whether this is true or not, yeah.
It's kind of put him on the back foot a little bit. Have you got any direct quotes of what Mr. Hoffman said?
Hoffman, no. I got the accuser who said some things here. One of them is suddenly grabs the bottom of my slip and pulls it over my head, exposing my breasts and body to the crew. Night after night I went home and cried, and I withdrew and got depressed and did not have any good in the personal relationships with the cast. I considered reporting to the Equity, but it was a case of he's a big star and that kind of thing. So,
well, if he did it, she says he did it in front of the cast or crew or whatever, so there's got to be people to corroborate the story right there. So if I was Dustin Hoffman and I know I didn't do it, I'd call for that.
Yeah, the production stage manager for the show said it just doesn't ring true. I mean, they've gone to people from quotes and they've said it didn't happen.
Oh, okay. So I guess that's interesting, especially if she'd make a point of saying that there were witnesses there, knowing that the witnesses were going to be called upon. Is she going to come out now and say that they've been pressured not to talk or anything like that? Because, I mean, if it did happen, odds are allegedly maybe there could be other instances, and they're going to look real dumb if they're defending him, and then in a week's time it turns out there's another 3 or 4 stories against him. Is that something you agree with?
Yeah, absolutely. But again, we can't predict that sort of thing. That's the danger, though, isn't it? I think because, with Spacey, there was that first story about your man Anthony Rapp, right? Was it from Star Trek?
Yeah.
There was that, and he quickly jumped on it and said, "I don't remember it, but I apologise." Hoping.
A lot of people, a lot of the alleged accused, are coming out right now. And they're apologising, whether they admit culpability or not. They're all coming out and apologising, which is
sure, but I mean,
kind of a PR move.
Sure, my point with Spacey, though, I think allegedly, if he'd done it, I assume what he was trying to do was kill the story before anyone else come out. But then they all did, and Hoffman. I think Hoffman sort of apologised for the first one. And this is the second story. If more stories come, then yeah, he might be in trouble. But at this point, too, in the wake of Spacey, I think he just might squeak through.
Yeah, because I mean, in the first story, he was claiming that the first accuser, that he kind of did whatever, and then she got mad at him, and then later on she apologised for going off on him because she was under stress during that day, and that's what he was using in the kind of John Oliver discussion to kind of as culpability. Like, look, she didn't have a problem with it. It was no big thing, and now you're kind of blowing it up into something. But this one is a lot more kind of.
This one certainly, if the story is true, it certainly sounds more like bullying than anything else.
Embarrassing.
Yeah.
Okay. Anything else? Yeah.
Oh, are we going to talk about the Smallville thing?
Yeah.
Good lord.
Okay, tell them.
Well, I don't even know where to start. Let's just cut to the chase. Apparently, allegedly, Alison Mack, who played Chloe on Smallville, is the second in charge of this cult, right? And was introduced to it, again, allegedly, by Kristen Crook, who was also on the show.
And she played?
She played Lana Lang. And I guess Kristen Crook left, and Alison Mack stayed and became a pretty big force in the cult, allegedly. I mean, they're saying it according to a Daily Mail article I've got here. The founder is a bloke called Keith Raniere, I guess. Raniere.
That sounds right to me.
And the group apparently identifies as a self-help group, but people who've left it say it's really a cult. And apparently, see, the really shady stuff comes in with the branding, which is about. I mean, what do you think of that?
Well, if they're claiming to be a self-help group, why would they be branding?
I don't know.
Because
I mean,
give a rundown of what self-help they were providing. So we've got branding on the list.
Well, see, that's what's unclear. For everything I've tried to read about this, try and get research, I don't know what the self-help thing is. That's what's baffling about this whole thing. I mean,
are you sure it's not a typo and it's not self-gratification?
Oh, maybe. Because a lot of the stuff, I mean, there's been talk about how thin a lot of the people in the alleged cult are. So I assume it's about keeping the body and the spirit and all that crap and whatever they're sell you. But at the end of the day, is a lot of it. There's a sorority within it apparently called the DOS, which is like a master slave thing, which is what leads to the branding. I mean, I don't even know how to describe half this stuff. It's just so odd.
Well, the thing is that this DOS thing, they're
Yeah.
claiming it to be a spin-off or a subsidiary of the division. Kind of smells of spin to me, because they ain't saying what there's no reports of this group's a self-help group, but inside it there's a division that's more let's just say explicit or eccentric, but there's no talk on what the actual self-help is. All there is talking about these what can only be described as kinky sex parties.
Yeah, because they're saying that Ranieri and Mac both have a set of slaves. And, I mean, because Alison Mack's Twitter has been trudging along steadily, but you know, she even the things she puts up as like Instagram things, which with some really weird statements, but she's not helping herself. One of them here is like, if these walls could speak. So what are you putting that out for? You know what that's going to lead to. And sure it has. Like, all the comments are about the cult. Apparently it's something to do with soul food, and so the first person is like, oh, drive through cult window. It's like, you set yourself up for a fool here, love. It's like, I mean, she's staying pretty quiet about the whole thing. It's why we don't have any news. It's why we don't know much about Kristen Crook, who, you know, we know, or we assume allegedly left early, and she had the boyfriend who was also left. But according to this, not only is Alison Mack in the cult, she's number 2.
Yeah, because I know a while ago there was an interview where she was talking about this Ranieri guy and stuff like that, and saying how she admired him and stuff like that. You're saying in this thing there's branding, there's forcible diets, and that the slave had to perform quote unquote acts on the masters and stuff like that, and how...
Oh yeah, and to get in they have to give them collateral, right?
Yeah, which is explicit photos and stuff like that. So if they ever tried anything going public or media, then said pictures would be released, and that was classed as collateral. So
or
I guess,
even allegedly of it was some financial details as well, I think.
yeah, if explicit media couldn't be procured, then financial details and stuff like that. And there's talk of going out and recruiting quote unquote slaves and stuff like that, and how Alison Mack's prominence in the entertainment field
See, that's what's confusing as well.
allowed
What
her to
prominence?
acquire fine stock.
Hmm.
Yeah. So is there any other quotes on these posts that you'd like to express? You know,
No, I'd like to avoid the subject entirely. I think
this was a shocker, because I know she was your favourite character in the show. I mean, she's
she
been
certainly
pretty
was.
quiet since leaving Smallville. We know Kristen Crook. She did Beauty and the Beast for a number of years, the TV show. So yeah.
She has been pretty quiet, and see, this also,
None of them
the
have
cult
come
that
out.
the cult that she's allegedly in, the time that we're hearing she may have joined also coincides with the fact that she didn't come back full time for the last season of Smallville. It would have been in the same time frame, and also Kristen Crook left the show a couple of years before.
I completely agree with you on that. Is there anything else further you'd like to add to that?
Nope.
Okay, so that pretty much wraps that up. So yeah, to kind of round up the whole harassment stuff as a whole, I mean, the last thing I would like to bring up is that on Thursday, Democratic Senator Al Franken came out and resigned after obviously the accusations of him, what he did. So he's come out and publicly resigned. I guess the big thing that he was kind of beat out all the late night hosts to kind of comment on it. So it's kind of surprising, but I guess he had to do it, because I mean there's no way around it. So yeah. that kind of ends that. And if we move on to the whole J.K. Rowling debacle, obviously there have been calls recently over the whole Johnny Depp and Amber Heard divorce and the alleged physical and verbal abuse that led to the collapse of their marriage. Is not just this film, obviously Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them, but it's been like a number of things it's been involved with, because not so long ago we was on Graham Norton, and a lot of people are on Twitter at like up in arms it is on the Graham Norton show being interviewed, because a lot of them were like going on about how his alleged wife beat her and stuff like that. So this is the kind of latest thing, because obviously his Gellert Grindelwald in the Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Him sequel, obviously he was in the first one for like a couple second cameo. So yeah, J.K. Rowling's come out and defended him, and not only said are they not gonna budge, but they're extremely pleased that is going to star in the film. You know, Amber Heard came out and she put out a tweet, I guess kind of drawing a line under it and stuff like that, and moving on, because I mean apparently the abuse was not intentional. He wasn't intentionally allegedly wanting to hurt her or anything. It was just, I guess, what happened in the heat of the moment. So I guess she wants to kind of move on and donate a divorce settlement to charities and stuff like that, and just kind of get on with it and draw a line under it. Your thoughts? I know you're a big Johnny Depp fan.
Well, no, I'm not a big Johnny Depp fan, but the point is this is really no one's business. They put out a joint statement, I believe, wanted to draw a line under the whole thing and leave it alone. So why are we still talking about it? Why are people piping up about him being on Graham Norton? I don't. If I remember rightly, didn't Mike Tyson show up on Graham Norton once? He got sent to prison for rape. Where we draw the line?
I think
Mel Gibson was on it a while back.
I think a lot of
Well, it was.
You calm down. Yeah, I think it's the double standard, because the whole Lena Dunham thing, she's like an advocate for, obviously with the whole harassment thing, she's been going out and been very vocal in her opinions, but then when one of her producers on her show got accused of it, she was like, oh nah, that couldn't have happened and stuff like that. So she was very vocal in defending him when it was someone she knew, but anyone else she kind of kicked up a fuss about. And with this, J.K. Rowling's very vocal about that sort of stuff as well. But when it's...
Well, J.K. Rowling shouldn't have said anything. That's the problem. She should have kept her mouth shut.
She loves it. She's always... all the time she's on the Twitter trying to mug people off. She loves it.
Yeah, well, that's half the issue, is Twitter. It's a collection... And by the way, I'm not condoning alleged wife beating at all. But they put out a joint statement, him and Amber Heard, saying, let's leave it. Then you leave it.
Do you think that
Twitter's
was part
half the
of
problem with a bunch
settlement?
of people sitting in their ivory tower and they all gather together and they prattle on about this crap as if they're perfect. I mean, really, what else are we supposed to do? It's his job. He has to go promote his job, and then we move on.
So what do you think?
There's far worse people in Hollywood than Johnny Depp, and they're working. I mean, what are we going to do?
What's your opinion of the double standard that these women come out and condemn some offenders, but when it's someone they know personally or someone they work with, they're like, no, it couldn't have possibly happened?
Well, my opinion is that the joint statement undercuts that.
In general.
But it's not a general thing. This is a specific thing. Johnny Depp and Amber Heard both put out that statement together. Then you move on. That's what the alleged victim has asked for. Then that's that. You know, in general, is it a double standard? Yeah, of course it is. But this is a different case. With Lena Dunham, I mean, yeah, I can see why the criticism there. And yes, it is a double standard. Having said that, what if we're in a position like that yourself? You know, that's what I'm saying. That's half the problem. No one's putting themselves in these people's shoes. What if that was you? What if that was me? And they accused you, you know, if someone accused you of beating your wife, I'd like to think it wasn't true. You know what I mean.
What if you
they're
saw the
friends,
bruises?
and well, then I knew you did it, and you're a scumbag.
What if she fell down?
There you go.
What if she fell down the stairs or walked into a
Well,
door?
exactly. Exactly. Then it's someone's word against someone else's, and blah blah blah, and that's part of the problem as well. Who knows? But with this is the Twitter issue. Is everyone jumps on one side, and then there you go. It's what social media has done to the world.
So are you calling for a Twitter boycott?
Yeah, I think it's dreadful. I think it's horrendous. But
Okay. Is there before we wrap up? Is there anything you'd like to final comments or anything you'd like to address to the fans and viewers, listeners?
yeah, don't be a hypocrite.
Okay.
There you go.
I'm Sam.
I'm Matt.
And we'll be back with more breaking news very soon. Keep it on Off Topic On Point. And for all your comic book stuff or TV show reviews, the Superhero Hub on YouTube. We'll see you next time.